into your reality creation process, because without acknowledging that whatever it is you intend to have does exist in the alternative space, you're not going to connect with it. Hello, 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 Transurfer and the Transurfing Curious. My name is Renee Garcia, guys, and this is Transurfing TV. And today on Transurfing TV, oh my God, we're gonna launch our 10 concept series and how each of the reality transurfing concepts directly relates to manifestation, kind of a word we don't really like in the transurfing modality. As transurfers, we prefer materialization because that's actually how it works. You don't manifest anything, you travel to a lifeline or a layer of reality where the presence of that thing materializes. It's so much easier. It's so much better, it's so much more effective, and all the ambiguity about law of attraction and The Secret and other reality creation modalities, well, transurfing's got none of that junk because it's a very clear-cut formula how to get from point A to point B, which is you obtaining what it is you want or what it is you want to be or have or do or whatever version of reality you want to experience. Clear-cut formula. And with the alternative space, this is kind of where the formula kicks off. If you do not have a profound understanding or connection with the alternative space, it's going to be a little bit challenging for you to fulfill the rest of the requirements. And I'm going to really break it down. If you missed the video, the introduction video of me talking about the difference between materialization and manifestation, I would definitely go back and take a look. That's a good place to start if you're new to transurfing or if you just want to start at the very beginning. Before I get into all this though, remember to like this video and comment below and subscribe to this channel and join us on the Facebook group, the International Transurfing Institute Facebook group. Lively conversations there. Follow me on Instagram, reality_transurfing, and the courses, Reality 2.0 and Tufty 2.0. Reality 2.0 is really a comprehensive look at everything that I'm going to be going over in these 10 lessons. So if you really want to dive in on your own time and just kind of go for it, check out the details. Lots of reviews, great reviews on that course, and all the details are below. All right, so the alternative space. I'm going to keep this video snappy because the thing with the alternative space is this. Vast, infinite in nature. The alternative space contains everything, all possible versions of events, all versions of reality. Everything that we want to be, have, or do is within the alternative space. As transurfers, what we seek to do is materialize that version of reality. So touching on my previous video, the difference between manifestation and materialization is manifestation is a person attempting to pull something into their layer of reality when the conditions might not support the presence of that thing being there. Transurfing and materializing something instead is you moving yourself to a version of reality where the presence of that thing materializing is much more likely. So this kicks off the first statement and where I want to start, that there is evidence to support all theories. Okay, so first off, what I'd like to do is, before I get into this, I want to extend to you a little practice that I have given people when I give live seminars and I'm teaching this concept. And this practice is very, very simple, and I believe it's very pertinent for a person that is struggling with this concept, such as I did initially, in helping to understand it a little bit better, making it a little bit more simple and a little bit closer to home. So what the exercise is this. What you're going to do is you are going to create a visual representation of the alternative space within your mind as you see it. It can be anything, and I've heard some really amazing and fantastic ones. Vadim gives us a couple actually in the Reality Transurfing Steps 1 through 5 book. This was the menu, right? Ordering off the menu. So the alternative space is the menu, and you select your choice. Same with the grocery store example, that you're walking into a grocery store and all the items and different choices that you can select are up on the shelves, and you go about making your choice. So how this ties into evidence to support all theories. So you develop your visual representation of what you perceive the alternative space to be. And then what I would suggest is that all the different choices and variations of reality that you could experience or you can perceive is itself a different theory. So with this statement, as Vadim gives it in the big book, Evidence to Support All Theories, this is kind of where reality just sort of blows apart, because everything that you've been led to believe or have chosen to believe, everything that you have right now or lack thereof is simply a supported theory that you have gone about to support in your layer of reality, collecting evidence to support that theory. And what happens is that theory about yourself, your life, what it is you have, what you don't have, is your layer of reality. So if you want something bigger and higher and better for yourself, it starts with creating a new theory within your mind that connects to the alternative space, which pulls in exactly what you need in order for you to gather that new evidence to support that new theory, therefore materializing a different version of reality. I know it sounds a little bit complex, but it's actually very, very simple. So remember my lifelines stacked upon each other if you watched the first video. This is my visual representation of the alternative space. This is very easy for me to understand. So the top layer of reality is the best version of reality that I have access to. This is me on the wave of fortune. This is me getting all the things that I want. This is me feeling free. This is me riding the wave of success. This is me having high thoughts, high actions, high frequency people in my layer of reality. The bottom one is the worst version of reality that I could experience on any given day. Me in an induced transition, me feeling stressed, depressed, anxiety, not able to get out of bed, lacking meaning, all that kind of stuff. So if I am here, that's because all I've done is collected evidence to support a theory that does not really benefit me or suit me or my intentions. And this theory that I have adopted, my reality will give me all of the evidence that I need. This is kind of like this theory is me shining a spotlight onto one layer of reality. And then my external environment, the alternative space, says, here, Renee, here's more evidence to support that theory. All the stuff that I'm focusing on exponentially increases in my layer of reality, giving me more of what I don't want. But the cool thing is I can do that in the other direction. I can do that in this direction too. So create a positive theory for myself. I have access to everything that my heart desires in all the same ways that everyone else does. I am capable. I am worthy. I am deserving. I can do this. This is simply a new theory. So when I adopt this new theory, then my world starts to show me more and more evidence that I can collect to support this theory. And this is how I start the process of elevating to a higher and better place where more of what I intend to have exists. It starts with a theory. So you always get what you choose. This leads me to my second point. You always get what you choose. So if you're here and you have chosen to view your life as being in the dumps, nothing ever works out for you, you're not capable, worthy, deserving, all the good stuff goes to other people, not to you, you will get that. What you choose is exactly what you get within the alternative space. This is really, really valuable to absorb and really acknowledge, because if you do not have what it is you want right now, if you are not experiencing the layer of reality that you want to experience right now, or the version of reality, this is simply because you have chosen that. Now, sometimes what happens is people will make another choice. Okay, I want to be wealthy and content and be in love and all this stuff, but then they don't fully believe it. So then they're still collecting the evidence to disprove that theory. And I think this is where the law of attraction kind of falls short. Is we see in the law of attraction community lots of talk of like, you're gonna be a billionaire in a month and you're gonna do this, but your mind still isn't there, right? So the absolute first step in manifesting, or materializing rather, what it is that you want, is you have to acknowledge that that version of reality does in fact exist, that it does, okay? So as soon as you acknowledge this, this is your first step in this direction, a higher version of reality where I have more of what it is that I want, where I am the person that I can imagine myself to be, where I'm living the life that I want. This version of reality absolutely does exist in the alternative space. This is why the alternative space is such a crucial concept to jump off of into your reality creation process, because without acknowledging that whatever it is you intend to have does exist in the alternative space, you're not going to connect with it. You're not going to connect with it. So how do you move about these different layers of reality, or whatever visual representation you have adopted? If you like the menu one, if you like the grocery store, whatever it is that you've adopted, how do you go about actually selecting that choice and moving to a layer of reality where the presence of that thing materializes with these? Well, this is done in 4 ways. One of the ways we just went over, acknowledging that that version of reality does in fact exist. The second is your thoughts have got to be in line with that choice. So this person down here struggling with depression, anxiety, low self-worth, that is not in line with the version of you in that higher version of reality that has that thing. So essentially what you need to do is you need to put your thoughts in line with that future version of yourself, having, being, doing whatever it is you intend to be, have, or do on that higher version of reality. Your thoughts have to match up with that version of you. Secondly, your frequency has to match up with that version of you. So down here, depression, anxiety, low self-worth, maybe some unhealthy coping mechanisms, bad food, drugs and alcohol, smoking cigarettes, hanging around lower frequency people, all that kind of stuff. It's like, weights that are going to weigh you down, keep you down on some of those lower layers of reality, and keep you from elevating to the higher layer of reality where the presence of what you want exists. So you got to learn to cut the weights, and we're going to get into that in the pendulums lesson. It's a valuable one, but really your frequency also has to match that version of you that already obtains that thing. And lastly, to wrap this video up, your actions. So if you're thinking along the lines of this version of you and your frequency matches this version of you, you still have to actually get yourself to that version of reality by doing the things that that version of you has already done to achieve that intention or that goal, to have, be, or do that thing. So you can sit on the couch and think, I'm a millionaire, and you can even resonate at the frequency of a millionaire. Silly as it sounds, you probably could, but your actions are lacking. You've got to act like a millionaire as well. So what this does is it opens up the alternative space to you. When you match these 4 things together, acknowledging this version of reality exists, matching your frequency, your thoughts, and your actions, what happens then is the alternative space responds to that. It responds to it by offering you ways in which you can actually move up to that version of reality, and offering ways in which what it is you intend can materialize. Your world is not going to offer it to you in this space. So this is why the alternative space is so valuable. It is your treasure chest, and it is your assistant really in you getting exactly what you need in order for the version of reality that you want to experience to materialize. Without the alternative space connection, and without understanding the movements that you need to make in order to get yourself to that version of reality, you're just going to be like an LOA person grasping and trying to will or force or hustle something into your layer of reality. It can work, but there is an easier way. Better connection with the alternative space, adopt a better theory for yourself. What you choose is always what you get, and acknowledge that that version of reality you intend exists in the alternative space. Match your frequency, match your thoughts, and match your actions. And this is how you materialize what it is you want. So with that, I will end this video. Let me know your thoughts, y'all. And remember to subscribe, like, comment, all that jazz. And I'll see you in the next one. Pendulums. Bye, guys.